What is up? What is up? I am back and black again. My second time doing this shit. Live and shit wasn't working and shit. I had already previously recorded. Hey, what's going on, 066? I see you, my niggas. Man, what is going on? You already know who the fuck I am. I'm your boy, Warren G, in the place to be. Been clowning sucker free since 2003. No finessing. You already know what the fuck it is. Shout out to everybody out there at the Court Plantation. It's late as fuck, man. I did this shit like 2 hours ago. The shit wasn't loading. Fuck is going on with YouTube, man? Man, I was like done. And I looked at it like, nah, it's not loaded. I'm like, man, your account, you can re-log in and shit. So, I was already done, man. I'm glad I checked my phone. Man. But anyway, shout out to everybody out there that's at the Court Plantation. Shout out to everybody making it do what it do. You already know what it is, man. There's a whole bunch of, the city opening back up. So, Las Vegas, so there's going to be a lot of fucking and shit going on. There was a lot of fucking and shit going on anyway. A lot of drugs. A lot of dope fiends. A lot of that shit. But anyway, man. Man, we got a lot to discuss. A lot to talk about. Man, we got a lot to discuss. A lot to talk about. But we're going to get into it. Hey, since I already did this shit already. And I don't want this shit to sound rehearsed, even though the shit did it low. I'm like, goddamn. But anyway, man, I want to talk about Andrew Brown Jr., how them motherfucking race soldiers was just dumping in his car, talking about, they was in fear for their life. He was using the car as a weapon and all this other shit, man. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about how Matt Gaetz still ain't in prison, but all his friends are going and copping pleas with him. With his good pedophile having ass, I'm going to still keep bringing it up, but R. Kelly's in prison. Or in jail. And Bill Cosby's in jail. But Matt Gaetz and Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein and all the other Steins and Steins and Beans and Goldsteins and all those other motherfuckers just out here just running a pedophile ring with no fucking consequences ever. No accountability. So we're going to get into that shit, man. Shout out to everybody that is at the Court Plantation trying to make it the best situation that they possibly can. I had a great conversation with this sister today. I ain't gonna put her name out there, but she was just like, man, I'm not trying to be doing this my whole life. And I was like, man, shout out to you, man, because I feel the same motherfucking way. If you aspire to do bigger and better things, nobody should be hating on you. They should be congratulating you. I just think a lot of that hate comes from motherfuckers being afraid to leave the Court Plantation they damn self. You can still work at the Court Plantation, and that should be able to fund what you really want to do. So shout out to everybody out there that's trying to do something with themselves. I don't care what it is. If you ain't doing nothing but selling baseball cards cost a grip. Shit, that's a motherfucking fact. But anyway, we gonna get into it. We gonna talk about some things. We gonna talk about how it all relates to the Court Plantation and how the shit is not gonna change until we have intrinsic value in who we are and stop having more value in everybody else's shit than we do in our own. So we gonna get into it. Man, boy, I'm glad, man. I checked my phone. It's like, shit, did not load. I'm like, damn. So I'm like, I guess I have to do this shit again. That's fucked up, man. But anyway, I ain't gonna spend much time on it, man. I'm just letting y'all know, man. Man, there's some crazy shit been going on, man. A lot of, I would say, ups and downs. I'll tell you this. Where the fuck is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris at with all this bullshit going on? That's what I want to know. And for all you sucker motherfuckers that's under the age of 40, I would say, and then told niggas to vote for Joe Biden and done vote shamed the nigga into voting for him, and now the nigga ain't doing shit. Done sign all these executive orders for Asians. How you gonna sign an executive order for Asians but not for people that built the country? I don't understand that. And I don't understand why we worried about what's going on in Israel. That ain't got shit to do with us. I never understood that about the United States of America Incorporated. I'm not worried about nobody's house and backyard but my own. You are, hey, let me tell you something. Stay in your lane. I always talk about that. We always worried about what everybody else is doing. Before I get into the subject, I think it's very imperative to us, to black folk, man, worry about what you need to do. Stop pocket watching. Stop watching what everybody else is doing. Take into consideration if somebody's telling you stuff and just kind of look at it from a different perspective. But don't look at it as if they owe you something. I always look at things like, well, you know what? Don't nobody owe me shit anyway. You know what I mean? And that's just how I've always looked at it. Why, Warren? Because that's the best advice you can give yourself so you're not sitting around waiting on people to give you anything. And for those that are sitting around the house and waiting for somebody to hand them something or give them something or do something for them, that's not going to happen. And even if it does, all it is doing is crippling you when it comes to dealing with the dominant white society in the real world. Because in this world ain't shit sweet, especially if you're a foundational black American and you are a descendant of native blacks who built this country for free. So I think it should be something that is a part of your everyday life. You should always have some type of reference point where you can go to. Like me, I always think about Dirty Bookman and how he was like, we need to replace the imagery of the black man, of the white man's God. You know, because their God asked them to commit crimes against us. So how could we be serving the same God? So I always reference that point of when you start having these, I would say, church folk. I'm not going to say Christianity or whatever, just church folk that believe that Jesus Christ is Cesare Borgia. You know what I mean? So, you always have to keep that as a reference. Why, Warren? Because I think it's important. I think it's important that you keep that as a reference so they can understand exactly what the fuck is going on. Man, I was looking on the news today, and I see that they found the title of the topic today is the not guilty verdict. I mean the not guilty factor. And the reason why is because we know that the motherfuckers was aiming to shoot to kill. Two, it's like, why did y'all just let him get away? If he had, what kind of warrant did he have? Did he have a sexual misconduct warrant? Did he have, what did he have? And what was he selling firearms illegally? Was he selling napalm? What was he doing that was that bad where you gonna roll up on him like he's got hundreds of millions of dollars and y'all just, when he evades y'all just shooting a car to kill? That shit is crazy that a motherfucker would do that and then justify it like, oh, well, he was using his car as a weapon. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't understand. Somebody needs to help me understand how that works. And the reason why I say somebody needs to help me understand how that works is it's like, damn, they was treating that nigga like was he? I don't understand. Was he a terrorist? Was he working with a terrorist organization? Was he under the eye of Homeland Security? Like, I don't understand why a motherfucker would just dump in the car the way they did. That's what I was tripping off of. I'm like, damn. Then I'm reading an article how they've all been reinstated, so none of them lost their jobs. So guess what? That goes back to the point of us group economics, putting bread on these politicians' heads, leasing and renting them, as Dr. Clyde Anderson teaches, and stop believing in the hype and believing in Joe 94 crime bill Biden and Kamala Harris and all these other people that they're so far detached from who black people are and what they've done in this society. First of all, Kamala Harris is not black. She's not a foundational black American. She's East Indian and Jamaican. She just used y'all shit to move up in this world. Y'all need to be, as they would say, mindful of these, I would say, doppelgangers or tethers or Africans or people that are not foundational black Americans, and then they get amongst you and start dancing like you and eating collard greens and, then they go into the cookouts and, doing all the necessary things that they need to do to check that off their list so they can fit in and blend in with foundational black Americans or native blacks, as Dr. Clyde Anderson would say it. It's just, I find it quite interesting because it's like, well, where's Kamala Harris at now? Why ain't nobody talking about that? Why is nobody bringing that up? And all these people that voted for them, that had groupie love for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, it's like, why y'all not calling them to the floor? Just like we didn't do Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton and Joe Biden was the main up, along with Hillary Clinton in that 94 crime bill. They knew what they was doing. They just didn't think they was going to come back to haunt them. They didn't think that black people was going to go back and look at that file and be like, hey, just like Hillary Clinton didn't think people was going to look up that Margaret Sanger shit and how Margaret Sanger wanted to depopulate black people. She wanted to exterminate us. She felt like we were like weeds that needed to be exterminated. That's how she felt. If you're from California, that means they put the paper bag over your house or the cloth. That means your house is being fumigated because you got rats and roaches. So back in the 80s and the 90s, If you pass by somebody's house and they look like they got a quilt on their house is being fumigated. That's what it means. It means that they're exterminating the rats and the roaches. So if you grew up in California, 80s, 90s, they kind of stopped it towards the 90s, but in the 80s for sure, they'd put a big-ass cloth over your fucking house. A big-ass cloth, too. Like, it looked like a quilt, like somebody knitted it together. And then they would fumigate that motherfucker. And that's how Margaret Sanger felt about foundational black Americans, or native blacks. That's why I always just be like, I always reference Jane Elliott. Soon as the motherfuckers start talking about reparations, that bitch start talking about the so-called Native Americans. Because that's what's on the census, as Dr. Clyde Anderson teaches too. You know, we call them Native Americans because that's what's on the census. But see, then again, the dominant society made up the census. So we don't know what the fuck it is. And they want to do the census every 10 years. Which just happens to be when the economy tanks every 10 years. Stop. Y'all know what y'all doing. Just like y'all talking about border control and all this other shit. But y'all letting these illegal immigrants in the country. And then these illegal immigrants come over here and start talking crazy to the foundational black Americans. That's why that lady that was in Central Park, the immigrant Karen, that was talking crazy to those sisters. Yes, I am racist because she know ain't nothing gonna happen to her. They know that they opening up the floodgates for illegals to come over here. If they wanted to put a stop to it, they could be like, what is it, North Korea or South Korea, where when you cross that line, they'll shoot and kill you. They're not gonna detain you. They're not gonna smile with you and give you a trash can blanket, a silver trash can blanket that they give everybody and take pictures and make it feel so bad. It's like, nigga, that ain't my problem. It's so funny how everybody's sneaking to come over here. You know why? Because they're here for unearned benefits. If you're sneaking over here for show and you're reaping the benefits of black foundational Americans, and then you're talking crazy to them, you're a freeloader. At least if you're going to come over here and pay homage to the people who built this country for free. Which brings me to my next point. That's why we get killed with impunity, because we're disaggregate people a lot of the times, because we have a core group of foundational black Americans, in my honest opinion, that's calling out the whole shit. It's a lot of people out there. Professor Black Truth, the Black Authority, you got Red Pill, Blue Pill. You got so many people. You got Tariq Nasheed. Go get Buck Breaking, by the way. I haven't watched it yet. I got it over there. I really want to stream it, but I might just buy another one. And you have so many different avenues of information where you can get the raw, uncut information about racism, white supremacy. You can go on YouTube and look up Nearly Full Jr. If you don't have the book, you can go listen to him. He's very soft-spoken, and a lot of what he says is kind of harsh. And to the naked ear and eye, when you're listening to it, it almost kind of like, you'll be like, well, damn, so we always got to reference the code, but he's right. You have to, what does the code say? Because the reason why those race soldiers were found not guilty, because it was a code. That code is the law. The law is codified. That language is codified to benefit the dominant white society. And it's there to be oppositional to foundational black Americans or native blacks. Why is that? Well, what other reason would it be? Who wrote these laws? Tell me who wrote them. Who wrote the Constitution? And who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Motherfuckers act like it was Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and them writing that shit. No, they didn't write that. Those were slave owners that was writing that shit. So if it was slave owners who was writing it, then why would you think that they would be there? And those rules, they would refer back to those rules, and those cliff notes to benefit black folk. Why would y'all do that? And then I noticed too, if a family member or a foundational black American, a black person get killed with impunity, it's almost like to get national news, you got to reach out to Lee Merritt or Benjamin Crump. If you have your own lawyer, your own shit, it's like they just move on past you, like you don't even exist. What makes it seem like, to me, it's a show. Because if it wasn't a show, it wouldn't be that way. So I'm about to play some of this audio. For real. I'm about to play some of this audio of them talking and discussing, the shooting. And it's actually crazy, but I'm going to play it, though. But I ain't playing no commercial.
Andrew Brown was shot by sheriff's deputies who are executing a search and arrest warrant on him in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. The local prosecutor there out detailing, he says this shooting was justified because Andrew Brown tried to flee the scene in a car that he determined was a threat to the officers. Therefore, they had the right to use deadly force against him. We're going to show you in just a moment some of the body cam.
Y'all should have known that they was going to say that. When I read it, I was, because I read it. When I read it, I was like, I knew they was going to say that shit. I knew they was going to say it. I knew they was going to say it. He could have ran away. They would have justified shooting him. My thing is, why would you shoot in a car like that? Like, what did he do? Did he kill 10 people? Like, they're not even telling us what he did for them to go. Literally, they was shooting him like it was in Iraq, like he was a part of some type of terrorist organization. That's how they was. No, he would have gotten treated better if he was a part of a terrorist organization. Because 9/11, after that happened, didn't they fly all of Osama bin Laden's family out of the country? So, yeah, he would have gotten treated better. But anyway.
Footage released at this press conference. I just want to quickly go through some of the other headlines. The district attorney saying he did not tell the Brown family before he had this announcement today that he was going to do this. He says there's some dysfunction in the relationship between the prosecutor's office and the Brown family and the attorneys, at one point accusing some of the attorneys working with the Brown family of misrepresenting facts in this.
So basically, I went this way with the decision because I don't fuck with those niggas. I don't fuck with your nigga lawyers who wants to aggrandize everything just so they can get media attention. That's basically what he's saying in his own way.
Case. The prosecutor also saying that the body camera footage he did show at the press briefing will now not be made public. If media organizations or anyone else wants that footage, they must go to the courts and ask for it. So we do not know. I'm about to show you about a minute-long clip of that.
So basically, y'all got to go ask for that shit because I ain't giving y'all shit. Fuck y'all niggas. Oh, well. What y'all going to do about it?
Camera footage, I just want to make clear, this was released by the prosecutor. We are not certain of its context, its full context. It does show some of the fatal encounter between sheriff's deputies. It shows officers approaching Mr. Brown's car, shouting, "Stop." The car then starts to drive away, and the officers begin to fire. We're going to show you this. It's just shy of a minute. Just want to caution you, some of what you're about to
This shit is crazy.
see is quite graphic.
And this the audio. You would think that they in Iraq or Iran or in Israel. You would think that it was some shit like that going on. Wow. These are trained killers. That's not law enforcement, man. That's trained killers. What now was it it was a search warrant. What was it for? Allegedly, they said it was weed. But what was it for them to do that? That's my question. Why are they not talking about what and you really need to serve a warrant like that? With all the crime and all the shit going on in the United States of America? All motherfuckers going up to people's jobs and going postal? You got motherfuckers like Dylan Roof going into black churches and just shooting, praying with niggas and shooting up a whole bunch of niggas. Then y'all take him to Burger King? Y'all treat him like a fucking hero, but a nigga got a warrant probably for some weed or some shit, a traffic warrant, and they want to treat him like he's public enemy number one, like he was a part of a terrorist group. The only terrorist that I know is the Dominant White Society, meaning the KKK, meaning the Aryan Brotherhood, meaning everyone that's a part of that shit. That means FBI, CIA, NSA. That's a terrorist group to me. Anybody that'll watch and observe and tap your phone and listen to you and try to get you with some entrapment bullshit and then do all those things because they don't like you because you black and they can't stand niggas anyway because of the system of racism and white supremacy, that's a terrorist group. Jesus. Now, you done shot all in the car. You still screaming, talking about show me your hands? Now, how you gonna put his hands up? That shit remind me of Philando Castile. Like, what the fuck, man? That shit is crazy, man.
30 Central, start EMS. Gunshot wound.
Let's bring into our conversation to share their expertise and their insights CNN legal analyst and civil rights attorney Areva Martin and retired Missouri State Highway Patrol Captain Ron Johnson. Grateful for both for your time. Areva, let me start with you. The prosecutor was insistent, at times even defiant, saying, even to the reporters in the room watching that video, who said, well, to them it appeared the car was trying to turn away from the officers, that Mr. Brown was trying to flee, but not to drive into the officers. That was the perspective of the people in the room watching the video. The prosecutor was quite defiant, saying, under the law, the officers had the right to view that as a deadly threat, and therefore the 14 shots that were fired.
Under the law, 066, don't trip. Like I said, I was recording this. First of all, I tried to go live, wouldn't let me go live. Then I tried to record the video, uploading it was taking all day, saying it was locked and all this other shit. And I was like, you know what, man? I'll just do this shit over and see. I had to log out of my Google shit to log back in. It's always something, man. And then now you saying that the live is tripping. I bet you it is tripping. Look, let me tell you something. Every live I go, somebody hit me up and be like, and leave a message and be like, bro, it's not even letting me know when you going live. Like, I didn't even know you was live. I just happened to be on YouTube. But I understand that. That's because I'm not on here samboing and cooning. I bet you if I was like, you know, if that black guy, you know, all lives matter, man. And you can't run from the police, man, because if you run from the police, you know, you kind of, you know, you're asking for it. That's what they want. If I bet you if I was talking, you know, and I believe that we're all created equal. And, you know, you just got to work hard, you know, and just keep your head up. And if you work hard, somebody will see you and they'll pull you along and put you in the position that you can win. That's what they want. So fuck all that. It ain't that deep to me. So don't even trip.
Span of about 44 seconds, in his view, justified.
Yeah, John, I had a real problem with many of the statements made by this district attorney. First of all, he relies on this 2014 Supreme Court case, Plumhoff. And that case does involve allegations of Fourth Amendment violations. There were police officers who were shooting in a fleeing car, but that case involved a high-speed car chase. And the Supreme Court focused I shouldn't say exclusively, but focused a lot on the fact of the dangers associated with a high-speed chase. That's not the facts involved in this case in North Carolina. We don't have a high-speed chase. We have an individual who's sitting in his car who is unarmed, who they're serving a search warrant on, and we know there's so many other alternatives, including the alternatives that are identified in the the manual given to police officers in this state, which are like many police officer manuals that prohibit or in many ways discourage police officers from shooting into a moving vehicle. And we heard this district attorney say he's aware of those police policies, but yet he did not take them into consideration in making his determination. So lots of issues with his defiance, as you described it. I think that's appropriate. And his ultimate factual and legal determination.
She was going in. That's why they didn't even let the other nigga speak. She was going in for real. But man, look, I'll tell you this, man. Did y'all hear the language? Well, we looked at the law, but why? Okay, if you're looking at the law, then why did you say there's an estranged relationship between the district attorney's office and the family, and that they're putting out false narratives about the facts? Man, the only false narrative is that they in fear for their life. If y'all saw go watch the video footage. When he was pulling out and turning the left way, and there was an officer right there, all that officer did was put his hand out and back up. He wasn't in fear, because if he was in fear for his life, he would have shot in the car right then. They wanted him to drive off so they could start shooting. Don't forget that one police officer was like, I'm going to tase you. Bang. Oh my God, I just fucking shot him. You know what you was doing, just like Oscar Grant. You're supposed to be going for your taser, but you ended up going for your gun, and you know that there's a different weight and feel between a taser and a gun. Y'all know this shit. It's almost like, y'all remember this? These fucking niggers. I can't believe these niggers. These girls are gonna kneel for the game. I hope these fucking niggers lose. Hey, dude, the mic is hot. Oh, my A1C blood sugar's low. I got diabetes, y'all. That was my diabetes talking, my sugars. Stop. And niggas went with that shit. Well, you know, diabetes, man. It'll have you saying some crazy shit. I just don't understand people sometimes, man. I'd be like, God damn, they come up with the ultimate fragility when it comes to holding them accountable. Oh yeah, man. It was a brother at a basketball game. He was an announcer. I forgot his name. It was like Matt Rowan or some shit. And this nigga was at a basketball game. So the sisters, it was a high school game. So the sister was like, well, we kneeling because, we protesting. It was his name was Matt Rowan. Look it up. And then the motherfucker was like, he didn't know the mic was hot. So he was like, these fucking niggers. I can't believe these girls be fucking protesting. I hope these fucking niggers lose. I hope they fucking lose, man. How dare them disrespect the fucking flag? Fucking niggers. They should be happy that they're even here. So the person next to him let him get all that shit out. He set him up too. Let him get all that shit out. And he was like, hey, bro, the mic is hot. Then soon as they was like, hey, bro, we're going to have to let you go. That motherfucker was like, oh, my my sugars, my A1C level was bad. Y'all, I ain't got my insulin. I got diabetes, y'all. Whew, I'm about to go into a coma. That's what he did. And guess what everybody else did? Start feeling sorry for him. All the other white people was like, oh, his diabetes, it's so expensive for an insulin pump. Come on. We just got to overlook that. What he said, a couple of niggers. It's not a bad thing. It was just diabetes talking. So I want to do the same thing. So let me spit out racial epithets towards the white Jewish community and see how long they shut down my bank account and shut down whatever money I have and I lose my job. If I'm just out there saying a whole bunch of racial slurs towards the white Jewish community. See what the fuck happened to me. See what happened to me. They not, man. Look, like our brother, shout out to Nick. Shout out to Dom too. Like our brother Nick said, he's like, it's so funny how you can't say shit. This is a protected class. But when it comes to black folk, you can say you get rewarded for treating them like shit. That's why I was like, oh my God. That motherfucker went into, 066. He went into, my A1C, my blood sugar. That shit. Niggas went with that shit too. Motherfuckers just making up excuses. That's why I'm like, man, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Just like I was looking on this thing. And this, let me see if I can find it. It was a doctor, and this motherfucker, Javier Perez or whatever, I found it's not an immigrant probably, and was fucking doing unnecessary OBGYN procedures and doing basically probably just finger banging bitches and doing shit. Talking about, I'm just checking for shit, but really you trying to get a bitch to squirt and shit and playing games and shit. See, that's some bullshit. Like, man, you ruining it for niggas like me. What if I want to be a practicing OBGYN type shit, nigga? And now I can't even fuck with the pussy like that because you up here and you should see this motherfucker. This motherfucker look out of his fucking mind. And then he was billing the insurances incorrectly, getting no more than $20 million. This is what these immigrants is doing, coming over here and doing that shit. Javier Perez, or whatever his name, 71, was convicted by a jury in November for 52 counts of healthcare fraud and other charges related to his performance as a obstetrician gynecologist, OBGYN, of irreversible hysterectomies and improper sterilizations and other medical unnecessary surgeries and procedures on his patients over a decade, prosecutor said. Now, if that was a black doctor, shit, that shit would be all over Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, BlackPlanet.com. Don't get me started, man. This is the shit that I'm talking about. Motherfuckers want to say it's not one-sided. Man, get the fuck out of here. Y'all niggas done lost y'all motherfucking minds, man. I'm going to have to rewatch. Oh, and good looking on the CMOS. You got Zelle so I can send you the... Look, you can tell I'm a terrible businessman. I forgot all about that shit. Hey, how it tastes? That probably... Hey, fuck the CMOS for a second. What you think about them cookies? Tell me what y'all think about them cookies. That's what I want to know. I forgot to text and ask me. Let me know right now about them cookies. 066. Y'all niggas need to fuck with these cookies, man. I'm telling you, man, I'm hooked. At first, I was like, maybe it's too big. But, man, after you eat one, you like, man, I want another one. That shit was bomb as fuck. I hate to get off subject, but I'm talking to the chat right now, man, for all y'all that don't know. Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll text it to you, but let me know how the CMOS turn out. Let me know how them cookies. Let me know, man, before the podcast is over. Let me know. Put it in the chat how them cookies, if you had one. Those were big-ass cookies. But anyway, I just think it's funny. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's funny is because if y'all go watch the video footage, they literally shot this nigga like he had Osama in the car with him. For real, for real. I seen them this morning, so I didn't get a chance to taste them. When you get a chance, ask Womble if he ate one. Did you see them? They big as a motherfucker. See, on a picture, it don't really look as big. But when you hold that motherfucker and look how thick it is, you like, God damn, what kind of cookie dough is this nigga using? But the shit was bomb, though. I'm about to get some more. But yeah, man, I'm telling you right now, man, I just think it's quite interesting that they basically just dumped in the car and he ended up getting shot in the head. Like, how do you shoot somebody in the head? Because they train to shoot to kill. So I got some other audio that I'm going to play. I have to play this, man, because I want y'all to hear this shit. This shit, I was laughing. It's just funny. You got to laugh, man. But the shit was funny. And the reason why it was funny, because he was just basically up there white-splaining, like, oh, well, you know, the law says this and the law says that. But the law's up for your interpretation. So you can still file charges. No, because you ain't trying to be off code with your fellow brethren.
City District Attorney Andrew Womble says the shooting death of Andrew Brown Jr. was justified and no criminal charges will be filed. Good evening. I'm David Allen.
And I'm Janet Roach. Womble said Brown used his car as a deadly weapon and drove at deputies, putting their lives in danger. We have team coverage.
But if he used his car, y'all got to watch the video footage. If he used his car as a weapon, then why don't y'all just, when he almost came close to hitting one of the officers because he was trying to get away, why don't you just shoot him right then and there? Why would you wait until he's driving away for y'all all to just shoot in the car? That was cowardly. You know why? Because they wanted him to do that so they can be like, oh, well, use his car as a weapon and we can shoot him. I just don't understand why we are so entrusting in the dominant society and allowing them to be the moral compass of who we are. How could you be the moral compass of who we are when you've been immoral for the last 450 years? I just don't understand why people don't see that. I tweeted that today. I said, man, y'all worried about all these other racial groups. Man, foundational black Americans been dealing with this for 400 years. We built the country. We get treated the worst out of every other racial group, but we built the country. But we're the world's entertainment, though. We're not just the United States entertainment. We're the world's entertainment. When we do shit, the world shifts to that. That's a fact. And I'm not talking about everybody, but for the most part, the world shifts to it. So if we listen to this type of hip-hop and this type of rap, everybody migrates towards that. That's a fact.
Getting with investigative reporter Evan Watson, who watched body camera videos of the shooting and questioned Womble on his decision.
District Attorney Andrew Womble said deputies made a reasonable decision to...
A reasonable decision. So basically, it was a reasonable kill. You know, that guy, he just was a nigger, and, you know, he was using his car as a weapon, so we had to kill him.
Shoot Brown, saying Brown was a dangerous threat in his car. For the first time today, Womble showed videos, body camera videos of Brown's death to the public. 4 body camera videos show deputies pulling up and then surrounding Brown's car. A deputy tried to open Brown's door, but Brown backed up away from deputies. Brown then drove forward toward deputies before turning away to the left, trying to escape. Deputies started shooting. 3 deputies shot at least 14 times.
14 times. Nigga, y'all not hunting gazelles, nigga. Damn.
Womble said Brown was driving away from deputies surrounding the car, but toward other officers in unmarked cars on the side street. The deputies ran up to Brown's car after the shooting and called for EMS. The autopsy and SBI investigation confirmed Brown was killed by a shot to the back of his head.
Exactly. But y'all calling EMS. What you calling EMS for? Why would you call anybody? Y'all know y'all killed him. Y'all know what y'all was doing. That was they plan the whole time. If you watch the video of them getting ready, oh, they was all hyped for that shit. I don't understand how people could join, but you know why? Because there's incentives to kill niggas. That's a fact. That's why a lot of people join law enforcement. They be having these, you know, oh, I got black friends and all this other stuff. But when they get on that law enforcement agency, it's blue lives matter. And it's that blue wall. But they be going amongst the hood, want niggas to tell on each other. but they won't tell on each other.
Womble said deputies did not fire an excessive amount of shots.
The law enforcement officers were duty-bound to stand their ground. They could not simply let him go.
The videos show deputies did not shoot.
They were duty-bound to stand their ground. Now, who came up with that? I'm sorry, a nigga wrote that for them. They were duty-bound to stand their ground. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Till Brown started driving forward. Womble said weeks of peaceful protests didn't impact his decision not to file charges against the deputies.
That this office put significant effort into ensuring that this decision was based on the facts, the evidence, and the law.
He said 3 things that they don't use to kill a nigga with impunity. Facts, evidence, and the law. Those are 3 things that they don't use unless it's convenient for them to steer public opinion. They don't use facts and evidence. Man, stop. When have you ever seen, the last time they used facts and evidence, it was when Walter Scott got shot and killed, and they had the police officer on camera planting a gun on him to make it seem like he had a gun so he could say he had a gun and I shot him. He just didn't know he was being videoed. He didn't know he was being filmed. So that's why he did it. That's exactly why he did it. So imagine all these other police officers that's not being filmed, or they can manipulate their body cam whenever they want. Just imagine those that can manipulate their body cam and they know what it is. Because think about it. Those body cams go to a secure cloud, probably through whatever police department that is. So the people that's managing those videos and the archives of that, they can manipulate that to wherever the fuck the way they want. You're never going to see the raw. I already said the first time, and I want somebody to take this shit. You heard it first. They need to make it where every police cam, when it's a shooting, when it's a shooting, especially when it's a black person, it's a white cop, and that camera should go live. And you should be able to look live at the feed. You should be able to look live at the feed. Why, Warren? If you live in that county or that city, you pay taxes. No matter if you vote for those police officers, them sheriffs, or not. So if you pay taxes, there should be something that you can draw from your own public opinion, not just something that they edit and give it to you. Because if more people had access to those cams live, I'm talking about they can't manipulate it, they can't change it, it's just live, it would probably be killings, but it would be less killings. You know why? Because now we see it. So now when we see it, we can share it. Now we like, even if we can't share it, I still saw it. And my neighbor saw it, and this person saw it. You know what? They're doing some illegal bullshit. Let's get these motherfuckers up out of here. But we not doing that. We just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever they say. Fuck out of here.
And not on public opinion.
Lawyers representing Brown's family called the justified shooting decision an insult and slap in the face, and asked for the public release of the video and a federal investigation. In Elizabeth City, Evan Watson reporting for 13 News Now.
Well, just moments ago, Governor Roy Cooper released a statement on Twitter saying that public confidence would have been better served with the special prosecutor, as well as by quickly making public.
Well, it's easy for you to say by a special prosecutor. You mean a special white person that's going to make a special decision over special white people. That's what you're saying. Because when we're like, oh, we're gonna take this up to the FBI, we want them to investigate. So you want more white people investigating more white people. That's like you at your corporate plantation going to your human resources department and telling them, such and such said this to me. And they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna do an internal investigation. And all they're gonna do is ask the person who's white, who you said something crazy to you. And then they're going to be like, no. And then they're going to be like, well, do you have a witness? And then you're going to be like, well, no, nobody heard it. Like, well, we can't really take your word for it. You know what's so funny? At the corporate plantation, they do it that way, right? But when you read Slavery by Another Name, it was simply off the mere fact that they was white. They would be like, I know this nigga, he owe me money. They don't even know the black people that they will come across in this book called Slavery by Another Name. It could be a black person walking up the street and a white person walking past you. The white person can say, hey, nigga, you owe me money. You owe me $1,000 or $500. You can say, bro, I don't even know you. That white person, if you're still hanging around that city, could go get a judge with police, they can come and pull you out of your home or wherever the fuck you at, go to court, emergency court hearing, and then the magistrate, which the judge, could be like, why are you here? And then the white person could say, this nigga owes me money. And then you say, I don't even know him. And then the judge will say, guilty nigga. You're going to go work on his fucking farm or his property, his plantation for 10 years to work off that debt. Do you have the money to work it off? Nope. Well, guilty nigga. You're going to go work at his house. And that's what they used to do, just off of them being white. That's what they used to do. So it's the same shit today. Now they codify it with the law. Well, we use three things that counted. Facts, the evidence, and the law. Man, stop.
Footage of the incident. This afternoon, we also heard from North Carolina's Attorney General Josh Stein, and he says the public needs to see the video. So let's take another look at the video right now.
You see officers approach Brown's car with guns drawn. They are yelling for him to get out of the car.
Yep.
Brown backs up and there doesn't appear to be any officers behind him. He then moves forward. You hear a gunshot. Womble says he drove towards a deputy. You see Brown's car get close to the deputy as it starts to make a left turn. The family says that turn was Brown's attempt to get away. The deputies continue to fire shots until Brown's car drives into a tree.
Pasquotank County Sheriff Tommy Wooten is responding to the results of the investigation. He says the 3 deputies involved in the shooting of Brown will keep their jobs, but they have to go through new training.
New training? Man, please. They're not going through no new training. They're going to keep doing the same thing they've been doing. But they're going to keep their jobs, though.
While the district attorney concluded that no criminal law was violated, this was a terrible and tragic outcome, and we could do better.
Sheriff Wooten also says the deputies will be disciplined.
Yeah, right. We'll be disciplined my motherfucking ass, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. Y'all niggas, man. We need our own FBI.
OBX is back.
Hold on, let me cut
Your
this
BFF.
clown ass shit off. We need our own FBI, that's a fact. And melanated only. Well, I think what should happen is they should start segregating law enforcement. They should start having each racial group police their racial group. And I think it would be racial harmony. Because now you can be judged by your peers for real. So now if you're a black police officer and you don't like a nigga and you just treating him fucked up because you're a police officer, you will be judged by a jury of your peers for real, because we can judge you. And now we can come together and be like, no, my nigga, you just doing that shit because you don't like him. Not because he's doing something wrong. And then it would be harder for you to hide behind that badge, because most niggas, I would say, have moral compass when it comes to their own, except when they don't like each other. And the reason why we don't like each other is because we look at each other through the eyes of the dominant white society. That's a fact. Why discipline them if they was in the right? Exactly. Good question. Good question, 066. Oh, well, they will be disciplined. You notice he didn't say that. If you heard the audio, he didn't say that they needed. First of all, he was reading something that they just put a camera in his face. He was in his office and they just told him, just say something. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it seem like we care a little bit. But if they were in the right, why would you discipline them? Why would you? You know why? Because they just don't want no rioting. They don't want motherfucking niggas going after white folk out there. That's all that shit is. That's just damage control. Just like it's been some shit out here in Las Vegas too. They was marching and then you had people in the marches trying to steal and do other shit. And then what they do is they ping it on the looters. And then when it's black folk, they call it rioting. That's what they do. But if all you can do is simply go on the news. You can see this white woman walking a cheesecake like she was a waitress right in the fucking camera. And it's like when it comes to black folk, it's rioting. You know what I mean? It's rioting. But when it's come to white folk, it's looting. That bullshit. Looting. There's a total difference. You know what I mean? That's why when people get to quoting the law, I'm not saying you should know the law. Know the law, man. But I'm going to tell you right now, man. Knowing the law is only going to get you so far. Why, Warren? Because, nigga, they going to change the goalposts. They've been doing it for the last 400 years. Didn't I tell you in that book, Slavery by Another Name? This slave master left all his property to black folk because he felt so fucked up of how he treated them and how slavery was. he felt so bad when he died in his will, his own white family didn't even know. He left his property to some niggas. And guess what the white folks did, the family? Them white folks went and got police officers and got a magistrate, a judge, and was basically like, man, our dad was fucking crazy. There ain't no way he'd leave property to these niggas. So guess what the white folks did? They said, well, we're deeming him insane because there's no way in the fucking world that a white man will leave his property to no niggas. So no, loan denied. You're not getting the property, nigga. And the fuck out of my face. That's exactly what they did. This is what they was doing. Read the book, Slavery by Another Name. I'm telling you, that book is fucking raw. It's so raw, you like, God damn. That's why I always say, nigga, no, the Chinamen did not build the railroads. They finished them, but they didn't build them. I'll give them that. They finished what we already started. Damn near, we did everything. Where y'all think the chain gang comes from? The chain gang comes from foundational black Americans. We was building those railroads. We were the only ones that could be in those type of conditions. Why you say that, Warren? Go read Medical Apartheid. That's why them slave masters was coming out there like, oh, the fuck these niggas ain't getting sick. Why am all my family dying from yellow fever and all this bullshit, but these niggas is out here picking cotton and singing hymns and shit? Why the fuck these niggas ain't dying? To the point where they was having OBGYNs and doctors come out there, and the doctors was lying for the black folks, saying that they was sick because the doctors was feeling sorry for a lot of the black slaves. But them black slaves wasn't sick. They just didn't want to get their asses raped and beat by them slave masters. And I'm talking about oh, that was so long ago. No, nigga, that was not so long ago. Slavery by Another Name, nigga, that was in the 1930s. What the fuck are you talking about? Motherfuckers think slavery was 1,000 years ago. Stop. 1,000 years ago, the Moors were in rule. They were holding power. That's why they don't talk about the Moors. They only talk about niggas in slavery. Like Amazon Prime got this Underground Railroad shit again. It's like they're going to keep revisiting that because that's where they want you to stay. That's where they want you to stay, right there. Remember that. But hey, man, that's my time, man. I appreciate it. Man, don't touch. I'll send you my Zelle. I forgot, man. But let me know how them cookies was. But I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. I understand what's going on with YouTube, man. I did a whole motherfucking podcast and shit would. I thought the shit was gonna upload. Shit ain't upload or nothing. But I guess, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, man, I will see y'all niggas on Thursday. If you hanging around somebody talking about all lives matter, all I'm gonna tell you is get the fuck away from them people. Stay in your own lane. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. And make sure you are moving aside to move ahead. And if a nigga ain't moving aside to move ahead because he talking about, well, I can't move aside to move ahead because there's too many black people talking about, defund the police and the racism. Guilty, nigga, I don't fuck with you, man. I'm out, man. Peace.